The fear is real, but it's often misplaced. Many retirees hear the word RMD and think the IRS is about to destroy their entire retirement plan. They see it as a looming shadow, a government-mandated robbery of their hard-earned savings. But for most retirees, the RMD itself is not the real problem. The real problem is what they failed to plan for 10 years earlier. By the end of this, you will know when RMDs actually matter, when they are completely overhyped, and exactly what you need to do before age 73 to stay in total control of your money. In fact, some retirees are so focused on avoiding RMDs that they accidentally make worse financial decisions that cost them more in the long run. Before we continue, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and hit the notification bell to never miss our next wealth-building breakdown in this changing economy, and to help this video reach others in our community needing financial advice. So let's get the basics out of the way. What are we actually talking about? An RMD is a required minimum distribution. It is the minimum amount the government requires you to withdraw from certain tax-deferred retirement accounts each year once you reach the required age, which is currently 73. These rules apply to your traditional IRA, your 401k, 403b, SEP IRA, and simple IRA. It even applies to inherited retirement accounts. Here's the thing people miss. RMDs are not an extra tax by themselves. They are simply taxable withdrawals from money that was usually tax-deferred for decades. Imagine your retirement account as a tax-deferred storage room. You've been putting stuff in there for years, avoiding the tax man at the door. RMDs are just the government saying you can't keep everything in storage forever. Eventually, they want their cut of the inventory. The big myth that haunts every retirement forum is that RMDs will ruin your retirement. This fear exists because the withdrawals are forced, and humans hate being told what to do with their money. But let's look at the reality. RMDs feel scary because they are mandatory, but many retirees already need to withdraw money anyway for their daily living expenses. If a retiree is already spending from their IRA each year to pay for groceries, utilities, and travel, the RMD might not change a single thing. It may simply formalize a withdrawal that they were already making voluntarily. For example, imagine a retiree who needs $45,000 a year from their savings to maintain their lifestyle. If their calculated RMD is only $28,000, the RMD isn't a new problem. They were already planning to take out more than that. The government's requirement is actually lower than their personal requirement. But there is one specific group of retirees where RMDs absolutely can become a serious problem, and we will get to them in a minute. There are 4 practical reasons why RMDs matter way less than people think. Reason number 1, most retirees spend the money anyway. The image of the miserly retiree dying with an untouched massive IRA is the exception, not the rule. Most people use that money for housing, healthcare, helping out family, or checking off bucket list travel goals. If the money is leaving the account to fund your life, the required part of the distribution is irrelevant. Reason number 2, the first RMD is often much smaller than you expect. Because RMDs are based on IRS life expectancy tables, your first required withdrawal is usually only a small fraction of the total account balance, often around 3.6%. If you have a $500,000 IRA, your first RMD is roughly $18,000. That isn't exactly a plan-shattering amount for most people. Reason number 3, taxes are the real issue, not the withdrawal. The movement of money from your IRA to your bank account doesn't hurt. The pain comes from how that income interacts with your tax brackets, your Social Security taxation, and your Medicare premiums. The RMD is just a math trigger. The tax code is the actual weapon. Reason number 4, RMDs are predictable. Unlike a sudden market crash or an unexpected medical emergency, you can see an RMD coming from a decade away. You can estimate them years ahead of time, which makes them a manageable variable rather than a chaotic surprise. RMDs are not a surprise attack, they are a scheduled event. Now, I'm not saying RMDs never matter. They absolutely do matter for specific people. They matter most for retirees who have very large tax-deferred balances and very low spending needs. If you have a massive IRA but you also have a high pension and maxed out Social Security, you might find yourself forced to take out money you don't need. This is especially true for a widow or widower who might later have to file taxes as a single person, which pushes them into higher tax brackets faster. It also matters for those near Medicare income thresholds. Higher income can increase your Medicare Part B and Part D costs through something called RMI. Social Security says that higher income beneficiaries may have to pay additional premium amounts for Part B and prescription drug coverage. So the real question is not, how do I avoid RMDs? The better question is, will RMDs push me into a worse tax situation later? The real enemy isn't the RMD itself, it's bad timing. The biggest mistake retirees make is waiting until they turn 73 to think about taxes. There is a powerful window of time that exists for many people between the day they retire and the day their RMDs begin. During this period, your earned income usually drops significantly. You might not be taking Social Security yet. This creates a tax valley where you have more control over your withdrawals than you ever will again. This is the time to look at retirement planning strategies like Roth conversions. The tax valley allows you to strategically remove or convert money to a Roth account when in a reduced tax bracket. Your traditional IRA shrinks, lowering your future RMDs. You fill those lower tax bands purposely today to avoid larger ones later. You're combining Social Security and taxable income to avoid a big year later in life. Avoiding RMDs at all costs is a risky mistake. Retirees focused with reducing their future RMD make emotional, irrational actions. They may convert too much money to a Roth IRA in 1 year, triggering a huge, unneeded tax bill today to avoid a lesser tax bill tomorrow. Some acquire complex financial items they don't comprehend because a salesperson said it would solve their RMD problem. They may withdraw money without a plan, jeopardizing liquidity and lifestyle necessities. Remember, RMD 0 is not the aim. The idea is to minimize lifetime taxes and retirement stress. Let's examine 2 retirees to demonstrate this. Both retire at the same age with the same IRA size, yet their lives are very different. Action is delayed until 73 for retiree A. They just let their IRA grow. That income is added to Social Security and pension when RMDs start. They suddenly fall into a higher tax bracket, their Medicare premiums rise, and the tax bill surprises them. However, retiree B plans from 62 to 72. They make prudent withdrawals during low income. That money goes into a Roth IRA, and they coordinate their Social Security start date. By 73, their RMDs still occur, but they're less and less disruptive because they handled the account balance early. Same-sized account, same retirement age. Stress levels vary greatly. You need a realistic checklist to be like retiree B. Estimate your RMD before 73. Use a calculator, not guess. Second, consider all income sources: rental income, Social Security, pensions, IRAs, and brokerage accounts. You must see everything. Third, find your low-income years before RMDs. This is your tax planning golden age. Fourth, examine if partial Roth conversions are right for your bracket. Fifth, monitor Medicare income thresholds to avoid mistakenly raising rates. Sixth, arrange for a surviving spouse because tax brackets vary when one spouse dies. Finally, consult a tax specialist before major decisions. Consider more than this year's tax bill. Control lifetime taxes. The surviving spouse issue is often disregarded in this conversation. RMD planning goes beyond the first retiree. The surviving spouse often has a similar salary but must file as a single individual after one spouse dies, also known as the widow's tax trap. Single filers have narrower tax brackets than married couples. The RMD problem may not appear when both spouses are living. It appears later when the surviving spouse has fewer tax advantages and the same large IRA forcing money out. Planning for this is one of the most selfless things you can do for your partner's finances. Bottom line, don't panic if you have an RMD. Do not assume all tax-deferred money is bad. Tax-deferred 401(k)s are great wealth-building tools. Do not rush into a Roth conversion without doing the math. And don't let fear-based financial marketing pressure you into pricey or complicated products. Planning for RMDs is not a retirement emergency. RMDs don't matter as much as retirees think, because they're rarely the villain. Waiting too long, neglecting tax timing, and treating withdrawals as emergencies are the actual villains. Early planning makes RMDs controllable and predictable. Ignoring them can cause tension. The same rule can hurt or feel good depending on your preparedness. What's your position? Which worries you more? RMDs, taxes, Medicare premiums, or running out of money? Comment below because the answer tells you what kind of retirement plan you need to develop now.